Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the North Brunswick Township Board of Education meeting, the conference meeting at the North Brunswick Township Middle School, and we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Bachman.
Here.
Mr. Graham.
Here.
Ms. James. Here. Ms. Keefe. Here. Mr. LaGroy.
Here.
Dr. Patel. Here. Ms. Toth.
Here.
Mr. Wen.
Here.
And Ms. Bullock.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Hawk. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law is enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Law, the public notice of this meeting, which included the time, date, and location, was distributed by 3 p.m. on Thursday, February 3rd, 2022, in the following manner. Posted on a bulletin board reserved for announcements in the board office, 25 Linwood Place, North Brunswick, mailed to the Home News Tribune, Sentinel, and the clerk of the Township of North Brunswick, and delivered to the 9 duly elected board members. And I believe we have a presentation tonight. Mr. Spillover.
Members, we're going to go sit in the front row so they can set up their screen. Thank you.
Raise your hand if you were alive when Funky Town was a hit. Yeah, not many, so, okay. Thank you, Mr. English, Ms. Dedon, and the NBTMS Music Department. And Ms. Nudelman, thank you. I would also like to point out that this slide here and a few others on the screens out in the hallway were designed by some of our digital design students welcoming the board here this evening. And in the lobby, you probably saw some of our student artwork from our art classes and art club as well. Right, so we appreciate the students' efforts. Welcome to the Board of Ed, parents, community members. If we haven't met, I'm Rick Salover, principal of NBTMS. I've been here a really long time, okay? I'm 24 years in the district, 4 years as principal, 2 years here at NBTMS. It is an honor and a privilege to be asked to be the first principal of a new facility, and something I take great pride in, honestly. But honestly, we welcome you here tonight. We're happy to have you. We have an awful lot to tell you about. First off the bat, we have several members of our staff here I would like to introduce, if you would just give a wave, okay? Our assistant principals, Ms. Amy Rafano, Mr. Rick Feltry, our instructional deans, Mr. Christian Valentin Gladden, who is new to us this year, Dr. Jennifer Casaza, our supervisors, math and science, Mrs. Janine Lanfear, special services, Dr. Alexis Rich, Ela and, English Language Arts and Social Studies, Ms. Caitlin Dwyer, and one of our 8th grade ELA teachers, Ms. Abby Cohn, 8th grade Social Studies teacher, Governor's Educator of the Year, an all-around good guy, Mr. John Zelahosky. Also 8th grade Social Studies, Mr. Abraham Noel. Okay. And from our math department, Ms. Deanna Peterson. All right. Our agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about the state of the school in many different ways, okay? We'll have an academic update on extracurriculars, look at some support programs and new initiatives, some upcoming events, and some things on the horizon. When I was trying to think of what might be a theme for this evening, a lot of things went through my mind. None of this is new, okay? The pandemic has dominated much of what we've done now for 2 years, literally 2 years. In fact, I think the middle school level may have been the last traveling board meeting before we went out. So, and are we the first one back? We're the bookends, that's great, all right. Interesting that we closed out Linwood Middle School, and now here we are. Right? But nonetheless, this is an exciting time for middle school education in our town, right? Which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And really what I wanted to try to drive home tonight is that what we have is a combination of good news and good work, okay? Now, some of you were here a little earlier and saw a tour and saw some of the good things that are going on in the building, which is only going to grow and expand. But as we know, the pandemic has done damage. There's no other way to put it. As I speak to colleagues around the district and around the state, and you read articles from elsewhere in the country, education has suffered in many ways because of COVID-19. And we are trying to heal all of that as best we can. So yes, there's a lot of good news, but where we have issues, there's good work going on. And that's really what I wanted to highlight, good news and good work. So we are rebounding, and to start the year, as we know, we had some lingering COVID concerns, which seem to be at bay at the moment. I don't want to speak too soon, but we're in better shape than we were in November, that's for certain. But we did have, as you know, because you got the letters, right? Contact tracing, notifications, children who were ill, parents who were ill, siblings in other schools who were ill, staff members who were ill, right? And it was far reaching. Okay? The social emotional impact on students is a real thing. And we knew that coming in this year. We just didn't know what the scope and depth would be. But it is a real issue, okay? And we are dealing with that on a daily basis. There was an academic impact as well. Right? As you can imagine, we're not having real instruction for so long, there was bound to be a lapse, okay? And there is some evidence of that as well. But we are taking steps to remediate both of those. And then, as someone who oversees the facility with the team here, there are staff concerns, okay? We had staff members who were sick, or had sick children, or lost a relative. And you need to tend to their needs as well, okay? Because it does impact their work. So this is a year of transition. There's really no other way to look at it. And in our very first faculty meeting, that was a point I tried to drive home with the staff, that we are not going to make up all this ground in 10 months. We just can't, okay? But we can work at it and we can try. Okay? And the other thing was learning the building. A year ago, we were here for half a day with half the students for half the year. We never served a lunch. We never served a breakfast. The gym was half empty. I don't think we used this room, okay? That's why it still smells so nice. This year, we are learning the building. What do I mean by that? Well, every time they build a new ball field or stadium, they talk about how the field plays. Does it drain poorly in a corner, right? Is the sun getting your eyes in right field or whatever, okay? We want to see how this place plays, all right? And that is observing student traffic patterns, okay, and where there might be hot spots, right? What are the best doors to use for dismissal and arrival, okay? What's the best pattern to call tables and lunch? All those things, all right? Things that we knew cold at Linwood, we had to learn here. And we're still adjusting as we go. But we are essentially, nonetheless, back in full days and a full calendar. Thankfully, I don't know if we could have gone much longer without. We would all agree on that. We have a complete slate of courses, and what I mean by that is COVID caused no attrition to our schedule. We still have as many sections of algebra and physics as we would have had. Okay? We didn't lose any ground there. Right? We have some new course offerings in technology and STEM. All of our clubs are up and running in person. Last year they were virtual. We had a full season of fall and winter athletics with minimal COVID impact. Okay? Last year we had no fall season, and our winter season was about 15 minutes. Okay, this year we had full seasons, very, very rewarding. We had our winter concert. We have had 2 athletic award ceremonies at the end of fall and in the winter. Just had the other one last week. We had our first annual spelling bee, and we've had several of our annual middle school level mathematics competitions, one just yesterday, right? Yesterday. And even on the lighter side, a little bit more informal around the holidays, we had a homeroom door decorating contest. I had that in one of my newsletters. You might have seen some of the pictures. I mean, some went all out, right? And we had the jazz band playing Christmas music in the lunch periods and so forth. And on the lighter side, it was just nice to have some spirit back and, have the place come to life a little bit. With more to come, without a doubt. A couple of people I'd like to point out. She's not here tonight, but our school nurse. I mean, if there's one job you want to avoid in schools right now, it is school nurse. I mean, how they've stuck with her for the last 2 years is amazing. And Ms. Dioria has been absolutely outstanding. I mean, just a trooper with a big heart. And she's been great with the staff, great with the students and their families. Can't say enough about her. Once again, our Governor's Educator of the Year, who you're going to hear from a little later on, Mr. Z. Our support person of the year is Mr. Ciro Baccio, who's our plant manager. There's none finer. When I first became a principal, I didn't realize how much I would talk to the plant manager. Well, that's like 3 times a day, even in a brand new building, okay? Just for a variety of issues. And he is my right hand. We have some new staff in the guidance department. Mr. Valentin Gladden, our new instructional dean. New staff in technology and science, our 7th grade science department, 8th grade language arts, phys ed, and building aids. And communication, if you're a parent here, you get kinbos, and lots of them, right? But besides that, hopefully you've seen my newsletter every 6 weeks or so, or every few weeks. You can click on that real quick. If you're not familiar with it, if you don't have a middle schooler yet, this is what it looks like. And it's a lot of upcoming events and giving some shout outs and announcements, things like that, and things you ought to know. Okay. And then in between those, we will send updates out, for date reminders and so forth. I think one's coming tomorrow, by the way. Upcoming PTSO meeting and so forth. Right? And then our message boards, which are around the school, are how we keep the students informed. Okay, besides our morning announcements, which are both digital and over the PA system, we have screens all over the building, right, that remind students a variety of things. Right? And then I have a staff newsletter that we contribute to every Friday that goes out to keep the staff informed, right? And that's where I try to make feeble attempts at humor and things like that. Okay, academic update. The first thing I want to point out, I'm always quick to put up the honor roll data because I'm always very proud of it, okay? But there has been a slide this year, which is understandable given everything that's gone on, okay? First marking period between both honor rolls, honor roll and high honor roll, we have 39% of our students on there, okay? Second marking period, there's always a dip in the second marking period for a variety of reasons. One, some course material gets harder, okay? Another, some students start their holiday break a little too soon, okay? So we did have a dip there, which is normal. However, compared to 2 years ago, we did see that the numbers were higher. That was the average for the first two marking periods 2 years ago. But the one caveat there is we also had sixth grade with us, which makes a big difference. First up, to talk about curriculum and so forth, I will bring up Mrs. Dwyer, who will talk to you about ELA and social studies.
Thank you so much for inviting me this evening. So I just wanted to give you a little overview of the work that's going on in our language arts and social studies departments here at the middle school. So our work started this summer. The Department of Ed released guidance about how to prioritize the standards for this upcoming school year in light of the challenges from last year's pandemic. So our ELA team actually started this work this summer to better prepare ourselves for the start of the school year in September. So what we were able to do was go through the document from the Department of Ed and determine the modifications that needed to be made to our unit. As a district that participates in the CAR framework, we're very big on taking the work that we've done in the past that's been successful and making appropriate modifications because our students, and then certainly the climate of the school year this year is different. So making the changes and modifications that are necessary. So we already had plans in place before the school year even started for how to best service our students in light of, the challenges from hybrid last year and virtual learning and starting the year off with a lot of SEL work across ELA and social studies to recognize those needs in addition to the students' academic needs. Additionally, we had the block schedule in 6th and 7th grade, but this was the first year that our 8th grade team has operated under that 72 and 42-minute block schedule. So in order to assist those teachers in the transition to having this longer block period with their students, we had block schedule training over the summer to identify ways that we've seen success in our 6th and 7th grade to better prepare the 8th grade team to maximize that instructional time with the longer periods of time. We operate on professional learning communities. We're very fortunate here at the middle school that our teams get to meet daily. So they're able to have conversations around modifications to curriculum, review data, identify the needs of students, whether that be individual, their class, or the grade level as a whole, and make changes thanks to those conversations that they're allowed to have. So our conversations this year have been around how to accelerate learning given the challenges that we faced recently. We're fortunate to have data from the Start Strong assessment, which all of the students took early in the fall. And then we also use the Linkit assessment as benchmark data, in addition to the formative and summative assessments that we have within our curriculum. So within our PLCs, we use a lot of our time to have conversations around those pieces of data to make sure that all of our instructional decisions are informed. What lessons do we need to reteach? What have the students already mastered that we don't need to teach again this year? And then what are the needs of our individual learners so that we can meet with those students individually or in small groups to support their growth. We're also very fortunate that we have a professional learning platform here where teachers are taking classes outside of the school day that align to either their individual professional goals or the goals of our department or our school. So in the ELA department, we're trying to use Linkit data to support our strategy group work. So meeting with students in small groups around their individualized needs. which is what all the research is saying is the best practice for, accelerating learning in these circumstances. We're also studying short stories to help us address those priority standards that we studied over the summer, so we can infuse multiple genres across our units of study. I had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to speak to a few of you about our Memboom vocabulary program. So we launched a new vocabulary program this year that's gone beautifully. Since I had the opportunity to speak with you, I actually spoke to the interim supervisor up at the high school. So they're discussing, whether that's a good opportunity up there as well. So our teachers had the students take a diagnostic assessment at the start of the year, which then allows us to cater the words to the individual students and their learning styles. They're able to infuse more vocabulary into their day that way. And there's a lot of different ways to learn the word. For instance, viewing videos, you can see a word constellation that's up on the screen, which shows, related words to the word they're studying. And, what we're seeing is students are being exposed to far more vocabulary words. And vocabulary is one of the things that most often interferes with student comprehension across their school day. So the fact that students are growing in this area is, a testament to their growth in ELA, but also in their other content area classes. You'll hear a little bit more about this later on in the presentation, but we also have many layers of support for our students here at the middle school throughout our school day. So we have ELA strategies classes that take place during our R&R period to support both academic students and to enrich students who are preparing for an advanced class in a subsequent school year. We have an ELA interventionist who pulls students out during life skills who are in need of additional support and also pushes into our ELA classes to offer support within the ELA block. And just this week, we started a new program that's called Success to support other students after the school day with their needs in ELA. A couple of weeks ago, we had our first North Brunswick Township Middle School Spelling Bee. It was quite the competition. It was a little shorter than the Linwood one. If you were at the Linwood one, it ran about 3 hours. So, yes, it was quite the competition. So Yashvi Patel was our winner here from the middle school. It's being run a little differently. Normally, the students all go to a county competition, but in light of COVID, they have to take a written test to see if they proceed to the next round, but we were very proud. Those were our last 3 student representatives at the end of the night. Thank you. Social studies, we're doing a lot of the same work as one of our overarching goals in social studies is getting the students to understand history, but to see how it applies to their current life as well. So 8th grade teachers also engaged in this block schedule professional learning so that they were equipped to utilize that time as best they could. Our professional learning this year has been almost exclusively devoted to understanding and preparing for the new standards, which we are responsible for as of September. So in social studies, the standards are not grade-based, they're banded. So we've done a lot of vertical articulation across 6th, 7th, and 8th grade to ensure that we're addressing the standards well and appropriately and what grade it's best suited for. There's also social studies practices, which are things like developing claims, citing text evidence, taking informed action in our communities. Professional learning classes have all been built around this trend of studying the new standards and identifying the best ways so that we're ready to roll for this upcoming September. As you may know, there's also a mandate that was put out by Governor Murphy that civics needs to be a half-year class across 6th, 7th, or 8th grade for all middle school students as of September. So we're currently in talks about whether that will be infused within the social studies classes or as a life skills class. So it's dependent upon scheduling, but we have already started to talk about resources to support that because we know how important it is in this society that students are making informed decisions and taking action in their communities. As I said, we're focusing on infusing literacy in, so working on things like main ideas, citing evidence, developing claims, which all align to the social studies practices, and all within this lens of seeing how this work applies to our world today, not just in the context of history. So we're fortunate to have a subscription with Ela, which offers us a lot of articles to enrich our curriculum and make connections to today. I just wanted to thank you so much for inviting me and for all the support you have for our school and our district. Thank you.
And now for math, science, and STEM, Mrs. Lanfear.
Good evening, board members, guests, and my colleagues. Thank you so much for giving us some time to talk about the work that we've been doing with teachers and students. So before I dig too much into math, science, and STEM, I do want to make sure that you understand one of the main goals of everything I'm going to talk about tonight is so that students stop saying, when am I ever gonna have to use this stuff? So, in terms of a way to do that, it means that everything needs to be connected to their lives, connected to things that are important to them. And so as we go through what I've selected to share with you as highlights, I hope you see that thread. Much of what Ms. Dwyer has shared also is similar in math, science, and STEM, in that the teachers have participated in many of the same kinds of professional learning opportunities for the block schedule. And we also have standards that we are required to implement this coming fall. And the main change for us is climate change and engineering. The state of New Jersey is actually at the forefront of including climate change across all disciplines, but science really leads the way in that area. And then engineering practice is, again, it's making science relevant to students through solutions for the world around them. So it's very important that we work in a hands-on way. We do a lot of project-based learning. And so in order for students to do that, we want to avoid direct instruction and lecture. So by digging in and letting the students sort of direct the wonderings and the phenomena that they take a look at, then the teachers can provide just-in-time learning. So then the students are kind of saying, oh, I really kind of need to know that in order to do the next thing of something that seemed kind of interesting. So that connects to the storyline approach. So students have an overarching investigative phenomena that's connected to their curriculum. This has been a large portion of the unit work and professional learning that has been ongoing in science. In addition, it is very important in math, science, and STEM that we continue to keep an eye on equity and access. So we there's an example of one of the projects that has been ongoing. If you are up on the media, you know that the STEM pipeline is kind of weak and it's also kind of leaky. So we lose a lot of our kids in the middle school years. They lose interest. And so by using some of these strategies, we want to hook their interest before it's too late. So we can sort of let them dig into particular applications and help them see what their noticings and wonderings mean in terms of their science content. So one of the professional learning opportunities that has come our way is an ESSER-funded opportunity. It is very exciting. We've begun working with Leadership in Science. Their professional who's working with us, Stacy Vanderveen, has started in the last few weeks presenting some mini workshops, visiting PLCs, and we will be moving towards some lesson coaching so that the teachers can hear another voice, another way of hearing some of the shifts that we need to do in order to be successful with this. We have a platform pilot right now called Inner Orbit. One of the changes when we talk about three-dimensional learning is that the standards include not just your content, which is your core ideas, but there are cross-cutting concepts, and then there are science and engineering practices. And so fitting all those pieces together and assessing them, because we measure what we treasure. So if the assessment doesn't match what we're trying to achieve in rigor and understanding, then we're not going to get there, and the kids aren't going to be exposed and ready to move on. And so the Inner Orbit platform is a platform that is specialized to the needs of the new standards in science. And we've been working with the vendor. They originally gave us a very short pilot. When we went remote, I said, oh, we can't really use the assessment too much because we're remote. They extended it, and then they've been lovely in continuing to extend it. We now have the pilot through the end of the year. So we're very excited to be able to measure and discuss how that works for us. And I do want to announce that the Honors Algebra-Based Physics program, which is the culminating piece of the science program, was selected for the 2022 New Jersey STEM Month STEM Virtual Showcase. So we have had a program since the virtual showcases began. Our AMPed program was in the first year, and we were supposed to present at the State House on March 27th, 2019. Oops. So they came up with the idea of creating a virtual showcase. It's a beautiful flip book that is available online. So our Amped on Algebra program was highlighted the first year. Last year, it was highlighted again because the focus last year was how are you doing STEM remotely? And so this year they selected our Algebra-Based Physics program, which really connects math and science. So again, making it make sense to kids. And, you know, I could go on and on about that. You can see some examples there of what's been going on in hands-on learning across the various grade levels and programs. And so when we start talking about math, the language around what we need to do is a little different, but again, it's that same thread where kids need to really understand the point of what they're learning. And to do that, we start with the problem to be solved. So if we do that, even regardless of the learning loss that we, have been, concerned about, we can respect our learners and we can accelerate learning by, again, providing just-in-time remediation. So we don't stop everything and say, let's review last year and lose more time. So we move forward in the curriculum, we differentiate. So a lot of our work has been around using the data that we have in order to ensure that we have good tools in place to look at that data, differentiate, use different strategies, and meet every student's needs as we move forward. So again, the block schedule training was another piece of professional learning that happened. And the CAR grant started in 5th grade math in March of 2019. It's a theme. So it started in 5th grade. Every year it's rolled up. So this year, the CAR grant for a strengthening teaching, leading, and learning moved up to 7th grade. And so we're using resources provided by the state. It's a prestigious grant program. We also have access to a coach. It focuses on professional learning communities so that teachers can have improved efficacy in working with students, collaboration, and shared leadership. It also provides us access to a brand new ETS assessment module around learning for formative practices, again, to help make sure we're meeting the needs of every student. And we'll be making a presentation to peer grant districts in May. Our program for Amped on Algebra, which was where the Algebra for Manufacturing, Process, Engineering, and Design began, rolled down to 7th grade. So we now have 2 versions of it rolling, depending upon 8th grade algebra or 7th grade pre-algebra. And as that program continues to grow, the kids are doing amazing things. And it's not just about what they're making, it's about how they're using the data behind their business to drive their understanding of equations, ratios, percents. They calculate break even. They do some amazing things with word problems early on in the year where we would normally be just really trying to help them do the basics later on and get to problems later. So the kids are really engaged. You can see some of the examples of what they do. What I would like to really highlight is the students chose on their own to take some of the proceeds of their business. So as part of the program, they run a little business. They decided on their own that they wanted to give back some of the proceeds of their business, and they chose on their own the Pride Center of New Jersey. So that aspect of inclusivity really connected with middle schoolers. And so they are giving a portion of those proceeds back. And here's where I would like the bags. So these are just examples. So the students designed the logo based on the theme of inclusivity for this particular bag. It's a reusable bag because, again, we're connecting to that sustainability goal across the content areas. The students were so thrilled when they had their order form roll out and Mrs. Janet Shiroka ordered from them. They were so excited. So here you go. There's a water bottle also. So she ordered the whole package. She got the discount. If you get the bundle, you get the discount. So she took advantage of the discount. So the kids are so excited. I also have one that is from me. You were also going to get one from me, but you were on the ball and you ordered and paid too fast. So this is from me. This is another one of the designs. This is really clearly inspired by the Raider. So this was before they started developing their own designs. They learned how to use the equipment. So the equipment we're talking about is a Cricut machine, the software that goes with it, the heat press in order to put it on. Miss Peterson is here with us. She's one of the AMPT teachers. Again, the coordinating water bottle. And so I chose this bag for our Raider alum who's with us, who is also the Director of Grants and Special Projects Emeritus. So when Amy was director, we really hatched this plan, and she would pick up my phone calls every time I said, I have another idea of what we can do with the money. So it's really been wonderful for the kids, and that's the bottom line. And I really appreciate the support that both of you have given to the program, as well as Mr. Solover and all the teachers who often are the buyers of the stuff. During a pandemic, they can't go out to the public, so it's often the teachers. So the kids really appreciate it. Another particular program is our coding-based math strategy. We're going to talk a little bit more about computer science, but again, if we can connect the idea of functions in math through computer science and give kids the ability to create something that's cool by coding, then that's another way that we can get them to engage in another representation of math and have it make sense. And similar to the student support services that Mrs. Dwyer suggested or detailed, our Title I programs give us time for push-in, for pull-out, for just extended time with the teacher, and the same success tutoring is beginning after school. Our coding-based math strategies, I just want to mention, was featured at the Rutgers CS Summit. I had the opportunity to present, and we were highlighted as a really great practice to make computer science sustainable because there just aren't enough teachers. So by embedding it into the math program, not only does the content make sense, but we're giving more kids access, which is something we're going to talk about on the next slide. So as these programs have rolled, I've gotten more and more involved in STEM per se. And so, the core idea behind STEM is that students really get to experience these interdisciplinary ideas and sort of feel out and explore what might be things that they want to dig into some more as they go forward. So New Jersey adopted the Computer Science for All implementation. All K-8 students have a set of standards that they must engage in starting this fall. For us here in the middle school, those standards are certainly broad. It includes anything from cybersecurity to artificial intelligence to what you might think of, which is hardware, software, and coding. We know that it is, again, imperative to get our diverse populations involved, not just because of the mandates, but because of what it provides as a future. So years ago, math was considered a gatekeeper for algebra going forward, and a civil right for students to be able to engage in algebra through middle school. And now computer science is the new civil right that is being called for. And so the state standards are supporting that. And so again, there aren't enough computer science teachers. There isn't even a certification yet. So by embedding it into these interdisciplinary courses, again, we provide the students an opportunity to engage. So what you're looking at here, I'm going to start up here with chickens versus zombies. So in our advanced programming and computer engineering course, as well as our engineering by design, and these were originally tech ed courses. They've been a little bit changed, modified in title and in content in preparation for implementation. So they now really come under STEM and computer science. You're really going to see that there's going to become a big difference between tech ed and computer science as we dig into the depth of it. So students use a platform in order to create an app. And in doing so, they use JavaScript. They created their own little game program, and that QR code, if you capture it on your phone, will give you access to play chickens versus zombies. So in addition, what you see over there is, and I brought one with me. So we are hoping, these have just come, there's been a little bit of a supply chain issue. So what we are hoping is to completely blow the kids' minds for them to understand that this is a computer, right? It's not the display, it's not the case, it's not the keyboard. So this is a full-fledged computer. So we have received these through a grant. We are going to be working with the kids to use these microprocessors. So this is the computer engineering piece. We're talking hardware, software integration. It's called a Circuit Playground Express. It gives kids the ability to code, whether we're talking about block-based coding in MakeCode. They can code in CircuitPython. They can code in JavaScript, and they can code in Arduino IDE. So it's sort of like the Swiss Army knife that will give us the ability to also have kids code where they are, because we know that some of the kids have more experience than others. So again, differentiating, and it's amazing what's on here. There's an accelerometer, there are multiple sensors. I mean, there's just a ton of things. Kids will be able to get really creative, and that's really exciting. It's 2 inches in diameter, and it gives them a huge amount of possibilities. One of our other new courses in the area that's connected to coding and computer science is Mechatronics. So with the support of grants and the board, we were able to start this interdisciplinary course. So there you have a couple examples. Students have learned flow charting, simple machines, all the way up to they did some compressor work. And we saw, if you were with us, we were able to turn one on, and it did its thing. And so there's coding involved in that course as well. So then we have, just as we wrap up that, the STEM ACES courses. Mr. John Wares is involved in really getting that program going. We worked several years looking to find a way to get it going. And again, with some grant funding and the support of central office, it's a great opportunity. It has some similarities to AMPT in that students are really digging in to a variety of ideas in science, in climate change and sustainability, and entrepreneurship and engineering. They will be having a frag swap. So aquaculture, when they start taking pieces of coral, or you can do the same thing with fish that they're raising. We have our own little Nemo and Dory in the building now. They will be having a sale as part of a parent academy. So that just brings me to our upcoming parent academies for math, science, and STEM will be in March and June. And we look forward to being able to do that back in person again. So thank you so much for the opportunity to speak and glow a little bit about how the program has grown. And again, with your support and, some fortuitous grant funding, we've been able to make huge strides. And, the kids are really engaging and benefiting. There are some of the courses where if they have it first, kids who used to come in late will manage to come in on time to get to that class. So it's making a lot of impact. Thank you for your time. And next up is Dr. Alexis Rich.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to talk about our Special Services Department. I first want to talk about how we do promote such an inclusive environment here at the middle school. We offer flexible programming and a continuum of supports for our students and really focus on individualization and student-centered programming. A highlight of our department, we collaborate between the students, the families, our teachers, staff, administration, support staff, and we really do work as a team to support our students. As part of this environment as well, we have been leaders in our social emotional learning initiative, which I'll talk a little bit about on the next slide, but it's the Mental Health Rebound initiative. And this has been amazing to really get social emotional learning into our classrooms and work with our students in a proactive manner. Some of our specialized programs, they emphasize both academics and functional skills. We have an emphasis on vocational skills as the students get older. One of our opportunities that we offer here at the middle school is our breakfast cart. So students work together and they take orders from our staff for different breakfast items, and then they're able to inventory the items, price the items, deliver the items to staff so they get to work on their social skills, exchange money, so they're working on their math skills. And they absolutely love this program, and the staff has been wonderful in continuing to place orders with them. So we do look to expand on our vocational opportunities for our students. We also work with our social skills instruction in all of our specialized programs, and certain students work in smaller groups to really focus on direct instruction in the area of social skills. Multisensory reading instruction has been an area that we've been growing at the middle school. We've been training some of our teachers and offering professional learning opportunities with programming that's multisensory and takes a direct instruction approach. And we also have our special education coach, who is K-12, who has been working with our teachers with differentiation and co-teaching models. And she is a wealth of resources and has been such an amazing asset to our programming here. Some of our professional learning opportunities that are ongoing include IEP best practices, specialized reading instruction, and executive functioning resources. And this is an area that we continue to grow and build in our department. One of the Mental Health Rebound initiative, we've taken a leadership role for the school. And what we're doing is it's a multi-tiered proactive approach to really work with our students and address the social and emotional learning challenges that they may be experiencing. Our counselors have been absolutely fabulous in working together to analyze results of our universal screener, discuss students, provide tier 2 and tier 3 supports, and we've been working on tier 1 supports in the building. We have a mental health rebound committee that meets once a month, and then we have our district mental health rebound team that meets every week. Our counselors meet every week as well to really go over how the students are doing and ensure that we're proactive and providing social emotional support for them. Some other aspects of our mental health rebound initiative include our mentor program, which staff is matched specifically with students, and the goal is to support students in developing positive relationships and trusting an adult in the building. And Mr. Noel is going to talk about that further in the presentation. We also have our Wellness Wednesday program, where it's a proactive way to integrate social and emotional learning into our day and the curriculum. So we work together with our UBHC clinician to create and provide lessons that are focused on topics such as mindfulness, positive thinking, gratitude, and these are shared with the teachers every week. And the lessons and the resources are approximately 10 to 15 minutes. Some of our teachers have added more to our social emotional learning, and they do additional lessons. And the teachers in our core classes rotate each month to deliver these lessons. And this has been a way, this is considered a tier 1 support in our mental health rebound initiative. And, we're really working on addressing the needs of all of our students and being proactive and looking at the importance of mental health in our building here. So thank you, and thank you for all of your support.
As you know, we have several supervisors for electives around the district. So we have a music supervisor for the district, art supervisor, so forth. Mr. Felci, as our assistant principal, is our liaison between our teachers here and the supervisor. So he's going to speak a little bit about all of our elective type courses for just a minute.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. Yes, so as Mr. Slover said, I kind of just am the liaison here at North Brunswick Township Middle School, helping support our life skills tomorrow, which we call our electives or our special classes here at the life skills. Kind of 5 components of that. We have the music component, which this year I think they're the most excited to be back from the COVID, being able to perform together in person. I believe this year was the first live concert in 2 years. Granted, it wasn't in this building, but this year, hopefully at the end of the year, will be the first time they get to perform live in this building. So I know the music department is very excited about to return to that. The COVID did not affect us numbers, so we're still strong with the music department numbers. So that's really a positive thing. The second component is our technology department. In addition to a lot of the things that Ms. Lamphere spoke about earlier, we have a lot of our digital design courses. And then moving forward with the TV studio, we'll be incorporating that as one of our electives here at the middle school. Art is still doing very well at our school. We have the art is very excited to be back as well. It's a little challenging with the COVID, not having all the supplies necessary. So they're very excited to be back in full force. So they're embracing a lot of the new initiatives they have. And I believe this May, we're having our district-wide art show here at the middle school as well. So we're definitely taking advantage of the new building in the district. So please come out and check out our art show in May. Foreign language, we transitioned to a flex approach a couple of years ago. Foreign language exploratory, where previously we did a singular foreign language over the course of the years at Linwood. Now each student will have a semester of the 4 languages we present here, Italian, French, German, and Spanish. And then after their 4 years, they'll be introduced, 2 years, sorry, they'll be introduced to that for their 4 years in high school, depending on which they get to choose. And then obviously we have here our physical education and health. Still going well. We have the goal of our physical education program is to support physical health through a lifelong commitment and a positive attitude towards fitness. And in conjunction with the physical health approach, we have the health component as part of it. And that's where they support the necessity of having physical, mental, and social health, and then also addressing some other concerns or issues that go on through their lives through the middle school years. So that's a quick rundown of our life skills here at North Brunswick Township Middle School. And I'll turn over to
We're going to, Mr. Fowler, Mr. Felch, are going to talk about our extracurricular activities for just a moment.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for the opportunity to share with you some of the great things that our students and staff are doing here in the building in regards to clubs and activities. We offer 24 clubs at the school, performance-based and service-oriented. So our performance-based clubs allow students to master and showcase their talents in a variety of ways, including working towards a final product, stage production, performance, or competition. Those clubs are our Academic Challenge, Art Club, Cyber Tech, which is a new club that we've added this year, Debate Club, Drama, Homework Club, Literary Magazine, Math Olympiad, and our music, a variety of music clubs, the Chamber Orchestra, Concert Choir, Jazz Band, Wind Ensemble, and then our newspaper, Operation Achievement, Robotics, Video and Media Production, which again is a new club that we've just started in the last few weeks, and our Yearbook Club. Next slide, please. Thank you. Our service clubs encourage students a sense of giving back to the community in a variety of forms. We have our Awareness Bundies Club, Humanitarian Club, the Pappas Club, and PBIS. In addition, our National Junior Honor Society recognizes outstanding scholarship, leadership, service, and character. These students are selected, the students that are selected continue to practice these 4 pillars, giving back to their community. One of the ways they do that is peer tutoring. So we find that students sometimes learn a little better when another student is giving them tips of how to get through some math problems or some struggling reading. So offering peer tutoring, we find that is very successful in conjunction with extra help by our teachers. Our student council and our PBIS organizations facilitate whole school activities to bring our school community together in the spirit-related and community service activities. Their goal is to engage our students in community, creating positive outcomes. And then our 8th grade activities club organizes our events for our 8th graders. As of this week, we have roughly 38% of our population participating in at least one club and sometimes 2 clubs. So that's a good number given the situation. Yeah, definitely. So thank you very much for all your support in central office.
Thank you, guys. Me again. So I'm here just to kind of touch base upon the athletics. So as Mr. Slover said earlier, I'm glad to report that the COVID situation did not have any negative impacts on our athletic programs. We had 13 athletic teams prior to COVID, and we still have 13 going strong now. If you notice, 2 years ago with the fall, we had 138. Now we had this year with 152 sign up for our fall sports. So we're in great form there. As opposed to last year, we only had 86 sign up for our winter. This year we had 182 sign up. So I'm glad to see our sports are going as strong as they were. Right now, don't get nervous about the 61. That's an early number. Last year, our presentation 2 years ago was in March. So we had but 61. We're going to be having all of our spring teams as well based on numbers. So I'm happy to report that we are going still strong with our student athletes. So that's a wonderful news. Some highlights for this year. We had first off the minimal issues due to COVID. I am kind of the administrator in charge of athletics, but I can't thank Mr. Ray Lepsky enough for all he does. He is pretty much the driving force. So he was the main reason. We had obviously a lot of factors, but he alleviated the negative issues of COVID on our teams, moving games around. So because of him, I feel we had less issues with COVID this year, just as pre-planning and everything. So he was fantastic with that. And a couple of highlights is our wrestling team did very well this year in the winter. We had 4 athletes medal in the big school tournament, and we had 1 athlete go on to win the big school tournament, Mr. Joel Miranda. So he had a very successful winter season. So I'm happy to report that our athletics here at Linwood are still, North Brunswick Township Middle School are going well. Sorry, 20 years. So I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Slover.
Takes a while. And now, coming into kind of the final leg, we want to talk about our support programs, which we've expanded this year because of the need. No other way to look at it. One thing that we started last year, this was my idea, okay? Culturally Responsive Education Council. This was something that I had been toying with for over a year, and it's not a secret that our staff makeup culturally does not reflect our student population, and there are inherent issues with that. And we wanted to create a council to address some of those. This council, the goals here are, number one, I would like this to be staff driven. So even though there's 3 administrators on board, myself being one of them, my goal is to be a member and not drive it, okay? The reason for that is because in education, every year there's new initiatives and they always get an acronym, right? And after a while, they kind of fade and they lose their favor and they become a box to check off. I don't want that to happen. We can't afford for that to happen in an area such as this. Okay, so my goal is to, with Mr. Valentin Gladden's help, Mrs. Lanfear's help, get this off the ground and then eventually pull back a little bit and let the teachers run it who are involved, right? It is a collection of teachers from a variety of backgrounds, a variety of training, and a variety of life experiences, right? And we're looking at a variety of things, okay? Data analysis in terms of things like grades, discipline, attendance, okay? Professional development for our staff to see where we can be more thorough in that area. Research and book studies. In fact, we have one of those getting off the ground right now. And student and family outreach to see how can we connect the staff to the students in regard to these issues. Okay, and we have actually something that Mr. Valentin Gladden's going to talk about in just a minute in that area called Days of Dialogue. Okay, so that's one of our first things that's new for this year. Talk about HIB. I'd like to bring up one of our deans, Dr. Jennifer Casazza.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So in addition to being a dean, I'm one of our school's anti-bullying specialists along with Mr. Valentine. So we talked a lot about the social emotional learning needs of our students. With that, we've also seen an increase in our bullying cases. So we've been working hard on ways to remediate and prevent bullying from occurring. So some things we've done in the beginning of the year, we always give training to our staff regarding the law and any new changes to the law and things to look out for. During the month of October, we also participated in a Spirit Week. We also participated in the Week of Respect, the Week of Anti-Violence. We had students create digital posters. We did a anti-bullying hashtag challenge. And then we also provided lessons on bullying, cyberbullying, and just violence awareness in general. We also have a school safety team where we look at our data and we assess and we see what the needs are. Something we did notice is there's an increase in cyberbullying, being the internet and social media being one of our biggest hotspots. So in the month of November, Mr. Valentine and I did provide a parent academy on cyberbullying and digital footprint, and we're continuing to provide lessons to our students regarding that. Dr. Rich did touch upon this, but again, our social emotional learning needs have increased since we've returned from the pandemic. We've given mental health screeners, and our counselors have been working very hard on giving tier 2 and tier 3 supports for our students. We also have our weekly Wellness Wednesday lessons. That's a tier 1 support for all of our students. And then in addition to that, we also use a program called Panorama. This we've been using for the 3rd year, and it looks at the entire building's social emotional learning needs as a whole. Interestingly enough, compared to last year, our students feel that they have increased in self-management. They've remained the same for social awareness and growth mindset, and they feel they have decreased in emotional regulation. So again, this is just better data for us, and I worked with the counselors, and we provided additional training for our staff for different things that staff and teachers can be doing in the classroom to help all of our students and their social emotional learning needs. Another thing we've noticed, and this is not new, this is not North Brunswick, this is globally, but we've seen a big increase in vaping and e-cigarettes. So back in 2019, Mary Ellen Engel and I wrote a grant, the takeaway grant with Hackensack Meridian Health. We were given funds, and through the funds, we worked with the committee and we decided to purchase halo sensors for our bathrooms. They've been working beautifully with detecting vaping and different things going on. So the sensors not only detect vaping, but they also give us an alert if there's any kind of aggression, loud noises. If someone yelled help, we'll get an alert right away. So we get an email and we're able to help remediate if something is triggered. In addition to these sensors, we also did a partnership with Aspire. So this is an online digital resource that's going to give lessons on vaping and tobacco use for our students. So if a student is caught vaping, we not only do punitive consequences, but we also put in our remediation efforts, and we have students signed up with Aspire, so there's an educational component to that as well. Additionally, we're going to be doing a parent academy in April about the dangers of vaping and substance abuse. Lastly, for me, we're also, it's our first year doing Avid. Avid has been on the high school for years, and this is the first year we're introducing it at the middle school. So we've been working with the high school and becoming an Avid school. We currently have 2 8th grade sections and 2 7th grade sections. They've been doing different community service projects. They're working on a Krispy Kreme fundraiser. And without further ado, I'd like to actually introduce not only our teacher of the year, but also one of our Avid teachers, Mr. Zalahaski.
Thank you, Dr. Casaza. I'm only who I am because I've had the distinct opportunity to work with 2 fantastic history teachers here, Mr. Solover, who is my mentor, and Mrs. Kita. So I'm very lucky to have them. Is everybody okay? You've been sitting for a long time. Does anybody need a stretch break? Okay, just checking. So a little bit about Avid. If you haven't heard of Avid before, speaking with acronyms, as Mr. Solover said before, it stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. One of the differences, though, is that this program is not new. It's been around since 1980 and was founded by Mary Catherine Swanson in San Diego with about 32 students. Now it's a program that has over 2 million students around the country and has been incredibly successful. In addition, we started it in 2016 at the high school. First group of students that graduated in 2020. When we heard about the program then, it was a program that just sounded incredibly exciting, and it was a way to reach the students in a little bit different of way than having them in the classroom. And I was really excited to hear about it. It was great to see how all of my students that were recommended for the program progressed and how successful they were. And then to see them finally get to graduate virtually in 2020, it was excellent. So when we had the opportunity to bring it here, I was very excited to be able to be asked to be on board and be one of the teachers for it. One of the key acronyms with Avid is known as WICR, and WICR stands for Writing, Inquiry, Collaboration, Organization, and Reading. One thing I tend to focus a lot on in my classroom is collaboration. I've really drilled into my students that over the course of the next 4 years, they're going to be together. And having somebody that is like-minded with you, somebody that's going to support you, somebody that's going to guide you through some of the different trials and tribulations of high school is imperative. And Avid's really all about trying to build that family culture in the school and give a lot of support to the students. It's about closing the achievement gap. It's about college readiness. It's about getting them ready for life in high school and beyond. Currently, we have 60 students in Avid. We have 26 in 7th grade, and I have 34 in 8th grade. The goal is for next year to bump the numbers up to 80 total. As of right now, the majority of my students have at least maintained their grades or improved their grades from first to second marking period. And of those students, more than half of them have also made honor roll. One of the goals I put forward for my students, and it was an unofficial goal, but I wanted them to all at least be able to make honor roll at least one marking period now to get them on the right path for high school. In high school, they really push honors level courses, advanced placement level courses, and all college and career readiness to ensure that they're getting into a secondary education institution, post-secondary. In addition to that, I also gave a survey to my students, and I wanted to know what they thought of the program so far through their first half a year of it. And one of the big highlights is they like the organizational aspect of it. High school is very big on organization as well, and they get a binder that they use, keep everything in. So as long as they have that binder with all of their information, all of their notes, everything is there for them to be successful. One of the fun things that we were able to do is at the beginning of the year, I had my students, to get them in the college mindset, they each picked a different state. And they were supposed to choose at least 5 colleges in that state. And we wrote letters to them and sent them out. Over the course of the last 3 months, we have been getting packages once a week, once every 2 weeks, and it has had different informational packets from these different universities. So far, we've gotten 19 different packets, and in my classroom, I have their banners and pennants hung up all over the country, from Colorado to Alabama, up to the most recent one we got was Coastal Carolina University. And every time we get these different packets in, it gives us a chance to take a few minutes out of class and be able to talk with them and say, all right, this is what the school is like. Here's the tuition, student body. They loved hearing about Coastal Carolina because it's 15 minutes from Myrtle Beach. One of the beautiful things about it. Plus, the Chanticleers did win the College Baseball World Series in 2016, which another fun thing. So they love learning about that. And one of the best things is that they're all still interested, well, almost all still interested in continuing with Avid going forward. So I want to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to bring this program to the middle school. It gives me the opportunity to really build a rapport with my students outside of the classroom. I've been teaching world history for a long time, but having the opportunity to talk to them about real relevant issues in their life, what it's like trying to get ready and talk about different courses, it's been fantastic. So thank you guys for everything that you've done. I know I'd like to introduce Mr. Abe Noel.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Abraham Noel. I am an 8th grade social studies teacher. I teach along with Mr. Zelahowski, and this year we implemented a new program. Throughout my experiences in North Brunswick, a little bit about me. I teach social studies, but I also coach football, wrestling, and track. And I've coached at the middle school, at the high school level, and a lot of the things that I've noticed for a lot of our athletes is having a male role model is extremely important to their development. And many of our athletes throughout the years have either improved their academic performance or behavioral behavior in general through interactions with coaches. So we wanted to formalize this approach. And this year was the first year we started a mentoring program. And unfortunately, young people grow up, 1 out of 3 young people will grow up without a mentor. I'm sure all of you can remember a mentor or adult outside of your family who had an influence on you and your trajectory as a human being, as a citizen, as a student, so on and so forth. Myself personally, I grew up in a single parent household. My mother worked a lot. So many of the influences on me were strong male role models that existed through coaches, through religious institutions, through whatever activities my mom put me in. So why mentoring? Well, mentoring at its core guarantees young people that there's someone who cares about them. It assures that they are not alone in dealing with day-to-day challenges, makes them feel better or feel like they matter. And the research shows that mentoring has a tremendous impact on student performance, academic and professional situations, so on and so forth. And then the data. How effective is mentoring? So a couple things that I saw through my research in implementing mentoring is its effects on absenteeism, its effects on seeking a higher education, as well as behavioral interventions. So as you notice from the statistics, 52% of students with mentors are less likely than their peers to skip a day of school, and 37% are less likely to skip class. Young adults who face an opportunity gap but have a mentor are 55% more likely to be enrolled in college than those who did not have a mentor. I actually can attest to that personally. I'm the first college graduate and the first to graduate with high school diploma in my family. That's a result of mentors. They guided me towards those goals. Youth who also meet with mentors regularly and face an opportunity gap but have a mentor are 80% more likely to participate in sports and extracurricular activities. So it's not just about the relationships with their mentor, it's also the relationship with the community and the educational community we have here at North Brunswick. Mentoring also promotes positive social attitudes, and 46% are less likely than their peers to start using illegal drugs, and 20% less likely to start drinking if they are exposed or involved with a mentor of some sort. So the goal here at the middle school is to create a program that provides these opportunities to mentor students and give students the opportunity to meet with an adult who cares about them, will impart knowledge upon them, and will guide them throughout their journey through middle school and into high school. So our mission statement is to provide a system of structure and support for encouraging and guiding students in need. As I said earlier, the research confirms that it's extremely effective. I'm not going to read through the whole mission statement because it is longer. But our program goals. When we first started out, we wanted to look at what are some things we can change or help with our students. And some of the things, as noted earlier by various administrators and staff, were our increase in either behavioral issues through HIB, as well as social emotional state of the school. So our goal was to decrease referrals for identified students, increase homework completion and class participation, decrease absenteeism, tardiness, and lateness, and also empower students to make better decisions and build confidence. So we had a number of students who were identified, and the way they were identified was through our mental health rebound survey. So I have worked with Dr. Rich a lot with some of the students who may need a boost in confidence or additional supports. We also have been identified by the administrative teams. Each of the administrative teams have been able to recommend specific students who either have multiple behavioral infractions or disciplinary referrals, or are just on the radar for something going on. Through this program, mentors track goals, as well as intervention and management strategies and outcomes for mentee students. All the data is collected and utilized in our planning moving forward. So each mentor is responsible for reporting back that data. I aggregate the data and we move forward through any future interventions, initial goals that need to be set moving forward, and as well as progress monitoring. This is all on a volunteer basis. The staff have been great with donating their time throughout the day to meet with students, either during homeroom, during their lunch periods, after school, or before school with students. And the staff have been fantastic with just meeting with students, even in an impromptu basis. While we do have our formal mentor meetings, I have seen many instances where staff will stop a student in the hallway and say, "Are you having a good day? How are you?" And that is something that goes a long way. They meet with assigned students. They complete a mentor log for data tracking and progress monitoring. They also maintain a positive relationship with students, encourage them to be respectful, responsible, and safe, and provide support and encouragement for the students. This is essentially an adult outside of your typical teacher, staff, coach that can guide a student in a formal setting as well as an informal setting. Now, our current progress. I have collected data from the students who have participated in the program since its inception in October of 2022, and you'll notice that this is the success we've seen in our building. Our suspensions for these students who are identified, entered in the program, and are currently participating in the program have reduced by 50% between marking period 1 and 2, or marking periods 1 and 2. Disciplinary incidents have decreased by 83% from marking period 1 to marking period 2. And unexcused absences have reduced by 67% between marking period 1 and marking period 2. And the results are outstanding. I can just think of a specific student that I actually met with the other day. It was very interesting. I calculate the student's GPAs, and this student had a 2.1 GPA during marking period 1. After entering this program, she now has a 3.4. She had 18 unexcused absences in marking period 1 between the months of September, which is very short, and October 15th. From October to now, she has 1. That student, when I went to tell her, had no idea. But when I went to, because I wanted to celebrate her increase in her grades, when I went to speak with her mentor, it was no knowledge. And I went to the mentor and asked and told them, I really appreciate what you're doing. This is the increase in GPA. And the mentor's response was, "Yeah, I know. We got to keep going." And that was their response. And that was something that really can't be, it's something that has such an impact on these students that it's just evident that we need to keep, just like the mentor said, we got to keep going. So that's our current progress. And thank you.
It's me again, to dovetail off of what Mr. Feltry said. I want to talk to you briefly about our DREAMS program. Our DREAMS program is an alternative education program designed to support students who are struggling in the traditional school day format. It's a temporary program that helps students refocus on their education, rehabilitating their academic, social, and behavioral skills. The learning environment provides a low student to teacher ratio and programs to help enhance their social and emotional well-being. We started that program on Monday, and I didn't remember what the acronym meant. And then when I went into the classroom today, because I try to visit, every day, it's been 3 days, and they have it on the front door and they have it on the wall. And the D is for dedication, the R is for responsibility, the E is for education, the A is for attitude, M is for motivation, and the S is for support. And all the students that are in the program, I think, understand that as individual words, but they don't know how to put it all together. And that's what I think the DREAMS program is going to do, is they're going to help those kids take all those very important words and the behaviors that are associated with those words and put it all together and exit the program and go back into our general population with some really strong leadership experiences and skills. And hopefully that will carry over, and really we'll see those increases in their grades and their responsibilities and their ownership, and they'll be great leaders in our building and go up to the high school better students, better prepared. So thank you for your support with that.
Like Mr. Slover said earlier this evening, our school continues to do good work, and I actually think it's great work. I'm re-inspired hearing these things, and I work here. I am the liaison for Title I this school year, and here are some exciting programs and initiatives that we have at our school. We just started the Success Tutoring program this week. Really excited about that. Ela, grade 7 and 8, math, grade 7 and 8, and of course, algebra, grade 8. We have our parent academies, as Ms. Lanphier and Ms. Dwyer spoke about earlier. And we also have in-class instructional support and R&R during the school day. That takes place currently in the morning during homeroom. Another exciting event that has happened this school year is the Days of Dialogue, which was an extraordinary event that really captivated our students, and they speak about it every day. So earlier this year, well, let me talk about the Days of Dialogue first. The purpose of the Days of Dialogue is to provide a safe and inclusive setting for students and staff to discuss and assess school policies and procedures that impact the daily lives of our students. Students and staff together examined current trends and policies and offered ideas as well as action steps to address these concerns. We met with, I believe, 8 other schools in Middlesex County at South River High School earlier this year, and teachers and students had a professional development together, and it was really empowering. We focused on addressing bullying and bias-based issues within our school community. Our students and staff are set to meet next month to work with the committee, and our students and staff are set to meet this next month and continue that conversation about the ways to make our school even more inclusive. And here's a picture of one of our student leaders right there. Another exciting event that's currently going on this month is the North Brunswick Municipal Alliance Leadership Conference Series. During the month of February, the North Brunswick Municipal Alliance Leadership Conference brings together our 8th graders and our 11th grade students. The goal of this conference is to provide support for our rising 8th graders as they transition to the high school. The support includes a collaboration of the minds in creating a public service banner focusing on the negative effects of the use of marijuana. A committee selects a winner whose project is then documented and displayed throughout the municipality and the school district. Our students participate in making a positive impact on the behavior of others, as well as establishing a relationship with a high school peer. This is a picture from today with our boys. And as you can see, they're flexing their muscles there, and our girls showing some girl power there. The students today were so excited to meet an 11th grader. Unfortunately, it was not in person, but it was through Zoom. But they were so excited just to talk to another student and a mentor. And the great thing about this program is that when they become 11th graders, they will become the mentor. And then the 8th graders here at MBTMS will become their mentee. And they're really excited for that. And they're going to work on their digital posters. So please look out for that in the near future. And hopefully we get a winner here. All right. Thank you.
We are almost done. All right. I apologize for the length, but as you can see, we've got a lot to tell you about. We have so much going on and more to do. But before I wrap up, thank you to staff members and admin team for coming here tonight. Thank you again for all your support for everything we do. I always say, I don't think there is a perfect school, and we're certainly not one, but we're trying, right? And we're working every day, and hopefully you see that. But a couple things on the horizon. Spirit Week is just coming up next month for the students and the staff. Okay, we have some parent academies, which you heard about. Spring athletics, even back at the old place, back at Linwood. One of my favorite days of the year would be 3:15 or 3:20 and walk down the hall and just hear wham, and it was a pitch hitting a catcher's mitt, and say, all right, here we go. Spring is here. And it's one of my favorite days of the year. Our spring concerts hopefully will be here. All right, so we can break in our new stage. Junior Honor Society induction is always a great night. That is coming up in the near future as well. Our drama production will be later on in the spring. The art show for the whole district will be here. Can't wait for that as well. And our 8th grade events are ideally returning. Okay, they are on the schedule, such as semi-formal, possibly the Frog Bridge trip, but they are, of course, they hinge on the pandemic. We'll see where we are at that time. Okay, and of course, class night, Dr. Patel, right? the 16th at 4 o'clock at NBTHS. Will it be indoors or outdoors? We'll let you know. All right. That depends on a variety of factors, including COVID and the weather. The football field gets very, very hot. A couple other things just a little further down the line. We are exploring a new scheduling option for our students, which might maximize the effectiveness of the staff in our facility. As you can see, we're trying to offer a lot of 21st century stuff, and we're looking at a schedule that will enable us to do that even more. Okay. But more to come on that down the line. Expanded life skills and enrichment offerings in technology and the arts. We ordered banners for the parking lot, like you see when you drive down Raider Road. We're going to have them on our light poles out here, right? Just a matter of getting those put up sometime soon. And possible expansion of our extracurriculars. We'll see how that goes, all right? That's our story, and we're sticking to it, all right? Thank you very much for your support. We really appreciate your time. Sorry about the length. Have a good night.
All right, so continuing after the presentation, we'll see if we have any old or new business.
No older new business. I do have my administrative report.
Please.
So good evening to all of our families, students, guests, and viewers here tonight. Our millions of viewers who will be watching this on video once we get it posted up. First of all, it is a great pleasure to be able to be here at the new North Brunswick Township Middle School for our first conference meeting in 2 years. Due to the restrictions of the COVID-19 pandemic, tonight is truly our first opportunity to celebrate the building and the opening of a brand new school in North Brunswick Township. Under the leadership of Dr. Sikowski and the Board of Education, the residents of North Brunswick Township passed a referendum for $77 million in December of 2016 to build a new 7th and 8th grade school. The vision was to create a 21st century learning space that would successfully lead our students into their high school years. It was also part of a larger vision, departmentalizing our 5th graders with a highly qualified subject area teachers. The collaborative work that went into the creation of this incredible learning space is a testament to all those involved in the planning, building, not only of a school building, but shifting staff, program, and schedules as well. And as you can see from the presentations this evening, what they've created in this building is absolutely amazing. The building not only was completed on time and on budget, I think you've heard that before, in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, but it opened in the fall of 2020 with no students, but then in 2021, all those students came in, and it opened with with all those challenges in front of them. Congratulations to Principal Richard Solover, his administrative team, and amazing teachers for bringing this school to life during those challenges. A few notes to our audience for this evening. First of all, due to the new 11th grade graduation test called the NJGPA, students in 9th, 10th, and 12th grades will come to school late on a 2-hour delay the week of March 14th, which is the mandated week for this test. Additionally, the parent-teacher conferences that were originally scheduled for that week have been moved for the entire district to March 24th and 25th, and those will be one-session days. This calendar change will be formalized at the next board meeting, and we did want to just start to let parents know that for their planning purposes. Finally, a letter was posted on our website this afternoon and sent to families via Kinvo indicating that on March 7th, 2022, when the governor's mask mandate expires, NBT schools will become a mask optional district. While we know this is a very controversial and personal choice, the changing landscape of COVID has made this possible. We fully hope that our entire community will continue to be respectful of each person and family's choices about wearing masks and the choice to wear a mask on March 7th. That is it for my report this evening, Mr. President. And we may want to, I don't know if any board members want to say anything about the end of the presentation briefly or make any comments about the presentation.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I wish they were here for me to say it, but, I just wanted to thank Mrs. Slover and the rest of the admin and staff, one, for hosting us here, and for the time they put into the presentation. There's a lot of great programs and initiatives that are going on here. And, just thank you for their dedication to our students here at the middle school.
And again, this is, it's almost a perfect commercial to, if you want to sell your school to somebody from the outside, or if they want to keep their student in district. I think that presentation was a perfect example of why you would want your child to, continue to attend North Brunswick Public Schools and attend the middle school. Any other board members?
All right, thank you, Ms. Rose. Student and committee reports will defer to next week's regular public meeting. At this time, I will open the floor to the public session. If anybody would like to speak, we'd ask them to come to the podium and sign in, announce their name. And seeing that there are none, can I have a motion to close the public portion of the meeting?
So moved. Second.
Favor? Any opposed? The question is moved.
Thank you. At this time, I'll be going into a closed session. Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presented exist, now therefore be it resolved by the North Brunswick Township Board of Education that the public shall be excluded from discussion of and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows: personnel matters. It is anticipated at this time that the above stated subject matter shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately. May I have a motion to go into closed?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? We can go into closed session.
Mr. President,
May I have a motion to return to open session?
Second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are back in session.
Thank you. And finally, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I'm sorry, who was that? Second. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.